Thank you for listening to the Pull It Back podcast. Now here are your hosts, Mike and Andy.
Hello and welcome to the Pull It Back podcast. Excuse us for the short hiatus that we took, but I am your host, Mike, and of course we are here with co-host Andy.
Hello.
And of course my wife, Carissa, is joining us again.
Hello.
Yes.
So you said that you had something that you heard about, Behi?
On the news?
Oh, yeah. I was talking with my buddy Rusty, and apparently this tanker truck blew up in Arkansas.
Wonderful.
Okay.
What?
Yeah, but, I mean, that shit happens. I mean, kind of rarely, and it's kind of like, oh, crap. But apparently this one blew up so loudly that you could hear the shockwave an hour away.
An hour away?
Wow.
An hour away.
Holy shit.
Oh my gosh.
This is a highway. When I lived in Arkansas, I was working for a company in El Dorado, and there was a highway between El Dorado and Little Rock, and there's another highway that goes to Texarkana. I used to drive on those highways to get to El Dorado and stuff like that, and to like test drive cars and stuff. And this guy, apparently he got into some sort of accident. It doesn't really clarify in the news what happened to start this truck on fire. My buddy Rusty seems to think it's from what is that company? Lockheed Martin.
Oh, the plane company?
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess plane engines. They don't really make planes.
Well, they make plane parts.
Yeah.
I think. But the thing about it, they have a big, I think, a manufacturing plant down there in El Dorado, and they make, I don't know what, but apparently they have a lot of chemicals that go in and out of there, and this truck was carrying ammonium nitrate,
Which is extremely explosive.
Yeah.
Wait, isn't that the same kind of like chemical that happened here in Texas? That big, was it fertilizer plant that blew up?
Yeah.
I think it's the same type of material.
Yeah, that's ammonium nitrate is like fertilizer. But anyway, this truck just so happened to be in the right conditions that some cold air was below some hot air. So when it exploded, the shockwave bounced between the clouds. Bounced between the clouds and reverberated almost clear across the entire state.
Wow.
That's...
Yeah,
wow.
15-foot crater in the hole at the scene of the accident.
Holy cow. So, wait, so this was like the truck just wrecked or something?
I that's kind of what they make it seem like, but it somehow caught on fire. And when it exploded, it heated the air so rapidly that the cool air made it travel down this corridor. Because it was kind of, I guess it was still chilly, but warm air was above it because, heat rises, I guess.
Yeah.
So... I don't know. It just like made the perfect conditions for the shockwave to travel clear across the state almost.
Holy cow, man. I mean, that's like
it's pretty incredible.
Well, you're talking about like the semi trucks and stuff, man. Every time I get behind a semi truck, especially when they're carrying like big heavy loads and stuff.
Oh God.
Like I'm like, oh, this is like Final Destination.
Dude, if I see like a car carrier with, in front of me,
of cars,
yeah, those are the ones that scare me so bad.
Or
like, logs.
If that car comes undone and I'm driving, I'm gonna go head on with this car that's like parked backwards. I don't know.
I know. So my asshole's always extra puckered when I'm trying to get around.
It's kind of like I was driving to work. Like this was a couple months ago, but I was driving to work and they had one of those car carrier semi trucks parked there.
Yeah.
But it was like it had just got done unloading cars, so it was like a ramp. I was like, you know what? I should do that. I should hit that ramp.
That's another one. You gotta hit that ramp. Carissa had to run it. I mean, especially I look out for most semis since Carissa got smashed by one.
Yeah. It's Yeah, yeah,
Crazy lady
so,
driver over here smashing
you
into
know
trucks
what?
and whatnot.
It was
No.
not my fault, you jackass. I will murder you. I will murder you. I will defend my honor.
As a terrible driver, yes, we get it.
Okay,
No.
you know what?
That wasn't her fault. That dude was a freaking prick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, like I was saying,
Bang.
I also don't trust anybody that drives a pickup truck, and I mean like a regular pickup truck. I don't trust anybody that drives a pickup truck with nothing in the bed but has the tailgate down.
Oh, yeah, they're morons.
Why do they do that?
Well, they're sociopaths. Like
Why does it bother you so bad?
I don't know. I was driving behind a guy the other day. Of course, he was driving extremely aggressively because he's a sociopath. And he's like flying through traffic, and then he gets in front of me, and I was like, he's driving with his freaking tailgate down with nothing in the bed. So, like, if you have like a big load in the bed and you have the tailgate down, I understand it. But you have nothing, so you're just too lazy to lift the tailgate back up?
Oh.
You know what I mean? It's
So-
like you're a crazy person.
Jesus. I don't know how you draw that. I can see if somebody has the tailgate down and they have a bunch of shit in there,
Yeah.
that worries me even more because I'm like, something's going to come and stab me through the windshield.
I thought
Going
about
back
that
to
too.
the
You see those
like
like
the Final
101 ways to
Destination
die.
thing.
Yeah, that's exactly. But I was saying like it's like because you've seen those stories to where the metal falls off the truck and like bounces and like pierces the person, you know,
and it's like their
pins them
head
to the
comes off.
seat, and you're just like, oh my god! But it like misses everything, so you're like, okay, because it missed all your internal organs.
Yeah.
What?
You've never seen those? It's like a rebar will fall off the back of a semi
Okay, yeah, you know what? I have a very vivid imagination, so I can picture that just fine without any descriptions. Thank you.
They get pinned to the truck or
Stop it.
pinned to their
Stop it.
seat in their car.
Stop it.
Or like a pipe.
Stop.
Yeah, like a big pipe, and it's like
Stop.
impaled,
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah.
punches right through the windshield.
Michael Martin, stop talking.
A lot of blood.
Michael!
Okay.
What is wrong with you? Why are you doing this? A lot of blood. Gee, thanks.
Well, on the subject of cars, man, I came across an article to where there was a lady police officer was having an affair with her boss. So, like
Okay.
the police lieutenant or whatever. So she
Yeah.
went over to his house and left her baby in the car, like parked in front of the guy's house, left it running. So the air conditioning was blowing, but the air conditioner had broken a long time ago, and it wasn't blowing any cold air, and the baby died.
Oh my God.
Because she was in this police office or her boss's house, like having sex for 4 hours. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she left her freaking baby in her car, even with the air conditioning on, man. 4 hours, completely unattended.
That's disgusting.
So you can get your rocks off with your boss. That's disgusting. And she was like, "I'm sorry, I never thought that would happen." I was like, "Dude, I hope you go to prison for the rest of your life."
Like, the
How
only
selfish.
thing I could picture when you were describing that was Taylor, the little girl that I'm a nanny for. Like, I think she's 15 months old. She's the cutest thing on the planet. And for some reason, it was her that I saw in the car seat while you were describing that. And that just
God.
terrifies me.
Yeah, I mean, think about
Like,
that. Think about you having your kid in a car, but sex was more important to you.
Yeah.
That is
more
so
important than your own
fucked up.
flesh and blood. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
There's a special place in hell.
That's what I said. I was like, this lady
Definitely.
needs to be hung in the court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Give her paper
oh my
cuts
gosh.
all over her skin.
Yeah.
Dude, I left
God. And then
left
lemon
Isabella
juice.
in the car. She was she could walk on her own,
Yeah.
but I left her in the car. Like I was going into HEB actually, and I got about 3 steps ahead. I was like, "Holy shit! I left my kid!" And I ran back, and I was like, "Come on, baby." She's like, "Oh," and I was like, "I'm a fucking monster. How could you forget your child?"
Well, I mean,
That's-
I've
yeah.
actually heard a lot of people that do that. They're like, I forget.
And I was like, "Oh shit!"
But they don't like. I don't remember who I recently heard this from somebody, but they were like, I left my kid in the car. He's like, but I just went into Walmart for like a minute, and then I was like, going down the aisle, and I realized I was like, oh my god, I have a child. And so they had all their items and they ran out of Walmart like with the stuff, didn't pay for it yet. Went and got the kid and then came back in and paid for it.
Well,
oh God,
at
I'm
least-
glad to hear that it's common.
Yeah.
'Cause I
you're
felt
not
like-
alone.
Well, I didn't get very far away. I got like maybe 2 cars down the aisle, and I was like, "Oh shit, my kid!"
You know,
Can you
Bella's,
be like,
Poor
can you
Bella.
imagine getting out of the car, wallet, keys? All right, good to go. Let's go get this.
yeah, let's go.
And then no, here's about the pause. Oh shit! My kid.
I mean, like I said, it happens to just about everybody.
oh my gosh.
But in this case, this is deliberate. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
You know, we just God, you got to lighten the air a little bit and laugh about being a little irresponsible as a parent because everybody does it.
Yeah, but not
Yeah.
for 4
But this
hours.
is- Yeah, this is on a totally different level. This is negligence and selfishness
Mhm.
and
That's what I'm saying.
just-
It's like the ultimate selfishness, because she went and was having sex, and it's like, dude, you couldn't like. You
She
couldn't
knew
get a
her
babysitter
relationship
or
was-
something.
well, she knew her relationship was so scandalous and irreparable. I guess is that the good word?
I guess.
I don't know.
I don't know, but she was doing such fugazi shit
Gazy.
that she had to leave her child in the car. She couldn't be like, "Hey, boss, can I put the baby in the corner?" It's not going to watch us.
It's like, hey, I got a kid. Is that going to be a problem?
Oh my gosh.
It's kind of the biggest problem you have.
She's
Yeah.
too young. She won't remember. But I mean, it's
Michael.
It's just absolutely disgusting, and I'm not going to say the lady's name because I don't know it, and I wouldn't want to say it anyway. But I hope she gets.
I hope she
what's
dies in
coming
a
to her.
fire.
I hope bad things happen to her. I'm sorry. You're a disgusting human being, and you shouldn't be on this earth. So,
Yeah.
when you said fugazi, I was thinking about how I usually joke and I say irregardless,
Yeah.
just to
Chelsea does that.
just to
Chelsea-
upset my wife.
Oh my
You are
God, Chelsea
the
does that shit all the
worst.
time.
She does
And-
it? Oh,
It drives me. It drives. She knows I hate it.
Yeah.
She'll be like, and I'm like, well, regardless of that, she'll be like, regardless. Like she's correcting me. I'm like, you motherfucker.
No, I'll just
But
say
it's-
it in regular conversation. Just be like, well, irregardless of the fact.
Yeah, he tries to just like casually just slide it into conversation, but I will halt the conversation.
Yeah, she goes, "Ugh," and she'll like choke me and stuff.
Okay,
And
that
she'll beat
was,
me
like,
to death.
Sometimes.
Oh my God. I was at the mall, one of the local malls,
Mhm.
and I was sitting there and I noticed, and my ears perked up and I was like, no, she didn't. A teacher with a gaggle of students in the food court where I was
Gaggle,
sitting,
good word.
they were just like bouncing in. Sir, do you have the time? Because, I guess adults just have time.
Yeah.
And then I was like, don't you have a fucking phone? You're like 15.
Yeah, get with the
And
program.
I was like, sure, man, it's 11:30. He's like, okay. And he dangled off somewhere else, the great ganglion little fuck. And the teacher starts, gather around, children, gather around. I'm not going to axe you again.
Oh, God.
No. Mm-mm.
Oh.
Mm-mm.
I was like, when you hear a teacher, somebody that's giving the next generation hopes and dreams and teaching them things that they need later in life,
Teaching them
Mhm.
lies.
and you're saying shit like axe.
Well, remember at Ellison, we had an English teacher named Miss Ford, and she would say axe.
I hated Miss Ford.
Miss Ford was an
She-
excellent teacher.
She was an asshole.
Of course, she
So
was
was
an
Miss-
asshole, but she was a good
Oh my
teacher.
God. Who was the vice president?
No, actually, you know what? Let me take that back. I think Miss Ford made fun of people because she used to do that. She'd be like, "I'm going to put you on blast," because like somebody would say something wrong because she was an English teacher, of course. So somebody would say, "Can I ask you?" And she was like, "Excuse me," and she would keep asking them, "Excuse me, until they would actually say, "Ask."
Wow.
Yes, I do remember her doing that.
Mm-hmm.
She
put
was
you
a
on
hard
blast.
ass though.
I know she was
She
an
was a
excellent
hard
teacher.
ass.
She was really mean sometimes, but sometimes you got to be.
Well,
Yeah. She was an
That stuck with
asshat
me.
sometimes. She was an asshat to me because of when Chelsea and I got together.
Yeah.
She was really into Chelsea's like previous boyfriend,
Mhm.
and when she
Mhm.
found out she was with me, she was like like bitching at Chelsea. So I
Like,
was
what are
like,
you doing with
"Fuck
this
you."
long-haired Mexican?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
She well, I had the other lady that ended up being our assistant principal.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
The other black lady.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name.
I can't remember her name either. But I know who you're talking about.
She was super rude to me. Like later, like when I was a senior and stuff,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't have to fuck with her anymore. I had Mr. Hill my senior year. Mr. Hill was a badass.
He was.
Shout out Mr. Hill. But like I got sent to the office, and she just like for some bullshit. Like I had a pizza, and one of the teachers put their hands on me or something like that, and I called them out, and they took my lunch and sent me on my way. Because I had my ID card on my backpack instead of on my shirt.
Oh, yeah.
What?
And she grabbed me by the jacket. I was like, what are you doing? And so I got sent to the office for that because she turned me in. Snitch ass bitch.
Oh my gosh.
Snitches get stitches.
She was like, Andy, why? I can't believe you did this, that, and the other. I was like, she put her hands on me. She's like, well, I don't care. You're going to Saturday detention. I was like, fuck. and I told my mom about it. She went up there and she's like, my mom is the sweetest thing in the world. But like when they were like bullshitting and talking shit about
you mess with her babies, and then she'll claw your fucking eyes out.
Well, yeah. But she went up there because they told her about this whole thing, and I told her the whole thing, and she got the two stories and they matched, and she was like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
She went up there and she's like, well, and the teachers were like, the same teacher that yanked on my jacket or whatever worked in the office. And she was telling my mom, she's like, well, you should be more concerned about his grades. So I had to have parent-teacher conferences on top of it.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that school was absolutely ridiculous with that stuff, man.
No, but then all my teachers, like one of which came to my wedding, they were thinking that I was like failing all these classes, but I was actually passing them.
Yeah.
And I had like A's and B's. And they're like, Andy talks a lot, but he's not a problem. He does all his work for the most part.
Yeah.
And they were like, Andy's a great kid.
Yeah.
And when I went to Mr. Hill, and I was like, well, what'd you say to my mom, Mr. Hill? He's like, told her you were the bane of my existence.
Oh my gosh. That's what any proud parent wants to hear.
He's like, oh, man, I hope he didn't
I was
really
like-
say that.
He was like, of course not. I told you you were good, but you need to do your homework.
Well, I was
Bane
going
of
to
my
say,
existence.
regardless of like how terrible our high school,
Shut your
Regardless.
mouth.
irregardless of our high school, I was going to say, I have a whole list of words that I wanted to go over about things that really bug me, so I can get this off my chest. When people say closet instead of closet,
What?
I do that.
yeah,
You do not.
not
do
on
that.
purpose.
Why?
I don't know.
Why, Andy? Why?
I don't know. Every once in a while, I'll catch myself saying closet, and Chelsea will be like, what'd you just say?
Go, Chelsea.
Well, I had my grandmother has never been in any part of the country that says this.
I
But
know what
she
you're about to
says
say.
Wash instead of wash.
Wash.
Who, Grandma?
Does she say?
No, not Grandma. I'm talking about my grandma Mary.
Oh.
Does she say wrench?
She should meet Fred's
No.
brother.
Yeah, she all of a sudden just started saying wash, like go wash your hands. Like you have never ever been around somebody that says that. You saw that on television,
Yeah.
Had to.
and you just started saying it.
I know
Well,
that's a super country southern thing to say is
Yeah,
wash.
because like my nana,
it's like- but
my
she's
mom's
been
mom,
north.
Michael.
Sorry.
So my nana,
Nana.
my mom's mom, as far as I know, she grew up only in the South, and that was something that Nana always said: wash and wrench. And so
Wrench?
wrench, RINSH.
Oh
I
my
swear
God.
that's how that's spelled.
That's what Fred's brother says. He's like, we need to go wash some. I was like, Megan hates it.
I mean, it's cute, especially to hear like older people just say it. And since my mom is getting slightly up there in years, I think it's adorable when she says it, because normally she's pretty good at just saying wash and rinse, but on occasion her little Pleasanton petite little Texas country accent comes out and she'll say wash and wrench.
Go ahead and wash. My mother-in-law says wash too.
I think it's
Put your
it's
clothes
just
in the
so-
wash.
Yeah, it's just so funny.
God, come on, like you that just drives me nuts, man. Another one is when people say, like, especially when they're writing it out. when they say affect instead of effect.
Okay, in my
Oh, yeah.
defense, I still have trouble getting those two straight.
Oh, I do too. I have to play it out in my head. Like effect is affecting something, and effect is affecting something.
Oh, my head
No,
hurts.
An effect is like a verb,
Yeah.
or and then like it's something you do.
Mhm.
It like the tornado affected the area.
Yeah.
Effect would be the result of the tornado. Like there was damage everywhere was the effect of the tornado.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Ish.
Sure.
I have no idea, man.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's just when people like when there's one that's clearly effect, but somebody puts affect instead.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to tell in conversation. I
Yeah.
feel like you're just irrational.
Yeah, a little bit. Or when somebody says like statute of limitations, it's statute
Statute.
Yeah.
of limitations.
Oy.
Or one of my favorites is when they say interior motive.
Oh my God.
Instead of ulterior motive.
Yeah, they say interior motive.
Mm-hmm.
That drives me up the walls. And then my absolute favorite is I could care less.
I couldn't care less.
It's supposed to be I couldn't care less, but some people will say I could care less.
Okay.
Well, I could care less.
Sometimes I trip up on that too. But
We need to get it right.
excuse me.
You need to get it right.
You need to start beating her.
Excuse me?
Please don't. Please don't.
I do that enough already. I'm kind of mean sometimes. Just sometimes.
Well, I was thinking the other day, I got into conversation about like somebody was saying like, what if you like, I guess there's a business on like eBay or something like that where people will like fart in jars and sell it to people.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Oh.
Like people fart in jars and sell it to people. And I started thinking about that when we had that Nerf fight. We had a Nerf fight in the living room, and Andy farted because we were like shooting each other like behind like cover.
Yeah,
and
we
Andy,
made like our own little forts and shit.
yeah. And Andy farted in a Twizzlers bucket, like the big buckets that you get like hundreds of Twizzlers in. Well, he farted in it and put a note on it that said "smell me," and then tossed it over my. I didn't know he had done it yet.
Oh.
It just said "smell me" on top. So I popped the top and I was like,
Oh.
it was so bad because it smelled like Twizzlers and shit.
Oh.
I did.
Oh, I
was
just got
so
a bad
bad.
taste in my mouth. Oh,
It was rough.
good Lord.
That was a good one.
Well, the funny part was when they were talking about that whole selling jars. I was like, dude, we were way ahead of the curve on that. We could have been billionaires by now. If that was
Yeah,
the case.
I was about to say
Billion.
the two of you combined, like, yeah.
I mean, we're
we would
Polish,
be
so we
gajillionaires.
have gassy intestines. I don't know. We just produce a lot of gas.
Yeah,
I guess
'cause
so.
Both of y'all are
Mexican stuff.
full of hot air.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, Michael.
Because a lot of my farts don't smell, really. A lot of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, mine were today. They were pretty weird.
Oh, mine were
I had-
really bad today.
I had chicken tikka masala last night for dinner.
Uh-huh.
Boy, that made me shit, honey.
Oh, God.
But it tasted so fucking good.
So
Have you
was
ever
it
had
worth
that?
it?
What, chicken what?
Chicken tikka masala?
Tikka masala? Was that like Italian or something?
No, it's an Indian thing.
Oh, no, I've never heard of it.
It's delicious. Do you like coconut? It's got kind of like a coconut flavor to it.
Oh, it's like coconut shrimp, but with chicken.
No, it's got like you know what curry is?
Yeah.
It's got kind of like a coconut flavor. It's got like some spices, and it's really really good. I think you'd like it.
Yeah, curry is like the peanut butter stuff, right?
No, kind of.
Like a zesty peanut butter. I know what you're talking about. I'm just messing with you.
Okay. I was like, no, but it is delicious.
But you know that time when you shot me with a Nerf gun and shot me in the head with the needle?
Oh yeah. Stuck
Have I
a
told
like
you
a
that story?
I don't know.
It was
Maybe.
we had like Nerf darts and we put this needle, or Andy did, put the needle in the end of it, and we're gonna shoot each other with like these needle Nerf guns.
I'm just shaking my head as I'm listening to this, just so everyone knows, because this is just gonna go so well.
Well, it had so much weight at the front of it. Like Andy shot it up in the air, like to arc it, and it came down and got stuck in the top of my head.
Of course it did. Of course.
And it went. It like made it a clack. I was like, "Ooh!" And you were like, "Oh, son of a bitch!" And you went over there, and it was still stuck in your head. And I was like, "Here." And you were like, "Oh!"
Popped it back out. I was like, "Ow!"
Oh yeah, that was funny.
That was hilarious.
That was stupid. That was really fucking stupid.
Yeah, that was really stupid. We could have lost an eye or something easily.
I know. I was thinking about because there was a good 2 inches or inch of needle hit, sticking out.
Yeah,
that goes misses, hits you right in the eye. You're done.
Yeah, you're toast. You're gonna be wearing an eye patch for the rest of your life.
I mean, that would be pretty sweet, but
well, the thing is, like, people. Do you think there's kids that still do stuff like that today?
No.
See, I don't know.
No.
I feel like kids have more electronic shit that they fuck with and apps and video games. I mean, we both had video games too.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, as an adult, I still play video games way more than I should, but we still did stuff outside.
Yeah. Well, that's what that was a thing I was thinking about the other day when I have like these epiphanies when I drive to work.
Man,
it's like my alone time in the car, so then I just start thinking about stuff.
Well, God, I'm alone a lot. That's all I do. I swear to God.
Just think about stuff.
Drive, yeah. So I'm left in my own head. So it's a good time to reflect and argue with yourself, I guess.
Yeah, you can argue with yourself, and you have nobody to disagree with you.
Yeah, like this is fucking bullshit.
I don't know, it's ridiculous. You know what? You know what I'm talking about? He's like, hell yeah.
Hell yeah, I know what you're talking about, dude.
But what I was thinking of was like, these people have like all this technology and stuff. So like iPads and iPhones and stuff are just like becoming like the kids' parents.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, essentially.
It's like you're like parents are busy or they're like don't want to do shit. So they're just like, here, play games on my phone or play games on the iPad or go play with something.
Or like go watch TV. And that's one thing that I really admire about the family that I'm nannying for. Again, the 15-month-old Taylor, like her parents, they don't want her to be glued to a phone or an iPad or a tablet or the TV. Like they don't want her to be glued to any of that because that just starts bad habits, and that's not how you should raise your children, by just throwing them in front of a screen or throwing a screen in front of them. Like that's not going to.
I don't know. It seems pretty awesome.
Shut your mouth. You're a horrible parent.
No, I mean, I think it's like, I think they're like, we're in the time now where people are like realizing that this technology stuff is like kind of ruining people.
Yeah.
So like there's starting to be a change, but I think like maybe 5 to 10 years ago when this really started taking off and like iPads were readily available to people and blah, blah, blah. Like, I think between that time frame where people were like, oh, this is awesome. And they just let their kids mess with this stuff. Like they're probably going to grow up to be like coders and stuff like that, but they're not going to be social.
Yeah.
They'll just know social media. They won't know real social,
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a difference between letting your kids play like games and shit like that on TV. I don't have a problem with it because I do the same thing. I don't feel like it's babysitting her because I still make sure she gets shit done. Her homework's done. Her homework's done. She's got all A's in school, as far as I know. And she can go play on the computer as a reward. She got a phone because she needed to communicate because her mom and I both work.
Yeah.
And we can't, just have her gallivanting across the countryside and us not be able to contact her.
Right.
I mean, she's not gallivanting, obviously. She's 11 years old. She's coming home. We need to understand when she's home and we can monitor her. That's why we got a camera system in our house so we can watch her.
Yeah.
I mean, we both have to work. There's no way we can't.
Yeah, I mean, it's understandable, but I'm talking about like the people that take it to the extreme. You know what I mean?
No, I mean,
they don't interact with their own kids at all.
Like phone goes away at dinner time, social time. She has to have social time every day.
That's good.
Because she can't just be on the phone. I understand 24/7, but like during social times when we need her to be social, like at dinner, tell us about her day or something, talk to her.
Yeah, because you need to you still need to make sure that she has those like conversational skills because she's going to need those for the rest of her freaking life. Well, the thing is,
we're not letting her have social media because I feel like that would take away her socialization at school because she would just have Facebook. Yeah. So she socializes at school and things we go to.
See, and that's something that I refuse to do. Like I have Facebook still, even though I never post and I never like read anything or look at anyone's statuses or whatever, because I don't want to talk to someone or like run into someone and they say, "Oh yeah, I went to, I don't know, Cancun over the summer," and I respond with something like, "Oh yeah, I already saw the pictures," and the conversation ends. No, I don't know what you did, so please let's converse like face to face, person to person, because I don't know. I want to be surprised. Like I want you to tell me what you did. I don't want to find I don't want Facebook to tell me, you know?
Exactly.
Like, that's why it just kills conversations.
I deleted it.
That's why I deleted mine too.
Is because anybody I want to have a conversation with or who I remotely care about, I have their phone numbers.
Exactly.
So, you know, maybe a text is a little impersonal, but at least I have contact with you. Right. Because a lot of our friends, family, they're working during the day, so a text every now and then is, you know, kind of saying, "Hey, what's up?"
Exactly.
You know? Yeah, just reaching out.
Yeah. It's letting them know that they're on your mind.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I text you every single day just to scream at you.
Yeah.
Because y'all are weird.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back with more Pull It Back podcast.
Yeah.
And welcome back to the Pull It Back podcast. My wife actually wanted to ask some questions. So it's interesting questions, I guess. What was it that you wanted to ask?
Okay, so first question, and I'm going to immediately answer this question. Okay. If you had the power, what animal or insect do you wish humans could eradicate? Mosquitoes. Oh my gosh. Mosquitoes. There, I'm done. Okay, y'all?
Oh, you took my answer.
Oh. Well,
I think that's a lot of it, people's answer.
Yeah, but I mean, like...
I think that's about everybody's answer. I think if there was a vote, it'd be like 95% would say get rid of mosquitoes.
But like
I think ticks.
Yeah, they're not that big of a problem.
They don't fly.
Yeah, like for me,
but they're way grosser.
Mosquitoes,
they are gross.
Like mosquitoes will hunt me down.
Because I feel like mosquitoes have more of a purpose than ticks do. Because ticks transmit a bunch of nasty diseases. I mean, so do mosquitoes.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But
mosquitoes.
I feel like the animals in the environment benefit more from eating them and stuff. Maybe not like deer and turkeys and shit. But.
Yeah, but mosquitoes, like they kill it's like the leading cause of death in people.
Mm-hmm. And if I'm in a group, it doesn't matter.
Countries, like
it doesn't
malaria
matter.
and shit like that.
It doesn't matter how big of a group I'm in. I will definitely be the one person who gets 20 mosquito bites, and no one else will be affected.
Bullshit. You know what's bullshit is my stepdad never gets bit.
Bullshit.
Swear.
Not fair.
He's so hairy, they don't
bite.
Oh my gosh.
It's like I'm not flying into that web.
Maybe that's what I need to do. I just need to let all my arm hair and
I wish I had that
just
problem. I would be extra hairy just for that.
Just to protect yourself from mosquitoes?
Yeah.
That's number one. Yep. Absolutely across the board.
Yep.
Mosquitoes.
Yep.
I think maybe like hornets too are pretty far up there.
Yeah, they don't like pollination.
They don't pollinate. They're not pollinators. No, they don't.
I thought they pollinated.
Wasps are not pollinators.
Oh. Well, then what do?
They eat bees and shit. They eat insects.
Oh.
And they fuck up people's houses and they just sting you for no reason because they're assholes.
Yeah, they're not very nice.
I remember when I had my house out, like when I moved away from my house, I went back to go check the mailbox. I reached into the mailbox and I was like, "Whoa!" Like something had got me on my finger, and I thought it was like a freaking spider bite or some shit. So I threw the mail across the road, and then I look and there's like a freaking wasp that had stung me on the finger. I was like, "What the hell were you doing in my mailbox?" I was like, "That's not my fault. Why the hell did you have to sting me?"
Fucking assholes.
You were in my mailbox and you just stung me because I reached in to grab my mail. Like, I guess they don't
like
understand.
the wasp knows.
See, that's what I'm saying.
They're stupid.
Wasps need to be eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
They're assholes.
Mm.
So, like, right,
Absolutely
mosquitoes,
eradicated.
then wasps.
Are we gonna do like a top 3?
Yeah, let's do a top 3. What's third?
No,
Ticks.
spiders are useful.
I know,
Yeah,
but
spiders
they're
are useful.
terrifying.
They're
Like,
just
their
creepy as
8
fuck.
legs are. Oh my
they're nasty.
gosh! Like I'm.
What about scorpions? Scorpions are so bad in Texas. Oh my
I
god.
know.
Gosh.
They're really bad.
I still have
Dude,
to
you
shake
remember
out
that time my
shoes
mom came down?
every time at your parents' place. Every time.
You know, it was at my house when I lived in that trailer in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
My mom and Fred came to visit. I think that was for what was that? Oh, it was Grandma's birthday.
Yeah.
They came through because they were on their way to Texas. Or no, that was when they came.
Well,
Anyway,
irregardless.
They stayed at my house,
Mm-hmm.
You're the worst.
and my mom got a giant fucking scorpion in her hair.
Oh, yeah.
And my mom's like, "Huh, yeah." And I think it was Fred, came over and flicked it off her shoulder, or was it your dad?
I think it was my dad.
Oh my gosh.
Because I remember him. Well, it probably I don't know who it was exactly, but I just know like I've seen him like fuck with scorpions before, so
I think it might have been Fred that knocked it off, and
possibly.
Jim might have grabbed it or something. Remember that big ass tarantula he brought back from the field?
Yeah.
Out there doing exercises in Fort Hood. He
Wait.
brings back this tarantula that was like the size of like a saucer.
Wait, no. Wasn't that was with your dad? We were driving and he saw it like running across running along the curb.
He saw it running across the road.
That's
how
right.
freaking big it was.
And he got out and he captured it. And then we took it home. And they got real pissed because they did not want to be in that little bucket. Because remember we would mess with it, like have pens and stuff and like poke at it, and it was like whack whack, and it was like striking the pens.
Yeah, so
my
Jim was like, "Ooh, might want to let this guy go now."
Yeah, and then she like light it on fire and then roll a bowling ball over it.
What?
No, that was a different spider.
Oh,
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I thought it was the
I did-
same one.
It looked like sausage dip.
Oh,
Oh God.
that's disgusting. Ooh, another insect, bug thing, animal, whatever. June bugs. I have very thick, long, curly hair, and every time that June bugs come out, at least one gets stuck in my hair. Every time. I'm tired of those
I can
things.
see that. They're stupid. Just
They're
bouncing off
moths-
the doors.
They're
Moths
blind.
too. They just like fly straight into my hair, and it freaks me out.
Well, moths are useful though. June
I
bugs, I don't know
know.
about that.
I know.
Andy, wasn't your uncle like? Remember when we went down to Louisiana?
Mhm.
And your uncle would had that. I'm talking. This was the biggest June bug I've ever seen in my life. It was like as big as a $50. It was huge. And
Yeah.
he picked it up and he put it in his mouth.
What?
Yeah, and he closed
That wasn't my uncle. That was my dad
Well,
and my uncle's friend.
whatever.
We were all over
That's
at his
right.
house, and they were making homemade hog cracklings.
Yeah, some Cajun backwood.
Cajun ass shit, dude.
It's the most
Yeah.
Cajun. Like picture a Cajun person.
That's Cajun.
Got
person.
it.
You got it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, he had like a really weird beard. He lived in a beautiful home because I think his wife was in like the oil industry,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly. They had a giant ass house, and he had like grills and big ass, like a turkey fryer,
Mhm.
the big pan with oil in it, and he was frying hog cracklings. I think they made like shrimp that day or something. Had like a crawfish boil. Dude, they were forever cooking at this dude's place. And he ended up dying with my uncle in a river.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, it was pretty sad.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah, they were. We would assume they were both drinking because they were alcoholics.
Yeah, I remember that. That was
Yeah,
a
it
rough
was.
time, man. But
Yeah, that was kind of. That was rough. That was rough. My
What
dad
about
lost all his brothers
cicadas?
and almost all of his brothers in the span of like 3 years,
Oh my
and
gosh.
his mom,
yeah,
and his dad, and then his mom.
Wow.
Yeah,
What
my
about
grandma just died a couple years ago, but
what about
okay,
cicadas?
that's enough. Then we got way out
Yeah,
there. We were talking about
Andy.
bugs.
well, I was
Then
talking
we
about
got
June bugs because Carissa brought up and she said that she wanted to eradicate June bugs, and I was talking about how your
Yeah, God.
uncle's friend was putting June bugs in his mouth, and he would close it, and then he'd open it back up, and they'd crawl out. It was just nasty. Like that was the first time I've ever seen a June bug.
Wow. What about
Yeah,
cicadas?
that was
though?
pretty weird.
Cicadas are disgusting.
They are so loud and noisy and obnoxious.
Well, I don't think anybody like up north knows what a cicada is.
Mm.
It's more of a
Probably
south
not.
thing.
Really?
More southern,
You Northerners
Louisiana and shit.
don't understand how lucky you are. Like, y'all don't get it. Just Google the sound that cicadas make. Oh my gosh.
It's rough, and it's 24/7.
It's deafening. Holy crap. Like, you can't carry a conversation with someone a foot away from you.
Well, last year was even worse because I guess like there's two. I guess there's like two different types of cicadas,
What?
and they come out at like they're in the ground and they get. I think it's like every 7 years they spawn or whatever.
Yeah, 7 years sounds
Yeah.
right.
And so this was the first time that the two breeds or whatever the hell they are like matched up. So there was like both of them were spawning at the same time. So it was just like
Billions
ton
of them.
It was
So it was like being at a
Yeah, that
rock
was-
concert every time you walk outside.
I remember that. That was crazy because that was in Arkansas too.
Mm-hmm.
They're down around that area a lot, and that I remember that it was like deafening.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was. Oh God, I hate cicadas.
I hate them with a passion.
I'd agree. I mean, like I said, my vote still goes to mosquitoes, but if
Yes.
one happened, it'd be definitely cicadas.
You know what? I think my top three would be mosquitoes, number one, obviously, and then June bugs and cicadas. Like, I really think that's where I stand because I don't see the point of any of those three animals. Like, spiders, I get. Like, they serve a purpose. Fine, whatever. I guess they can stay around. Just stay away from me. But, yeah, mosquitoes, June bugs.
You know, they
and
keep trying
cicadas.
to eradicate mosquitoes, but that's how bees and shit are starting to be like got endangered.
Mm.
Well, they tried to
mosquito
eradicate
shit.
mosquitoes with like pesticides and stuff, but
Mhm.
then these scientists came up and they were like, you know what, we're going to have these like a bunch of mosquitoes. We're going to make them infertile, and they were planning on like this was the theory. They haven't done it. I guess I want to say they did it.
No,
in
I
some
think
places.
they did it. Yes, I know
But-
what you're talking about.
They gave like they let these infertile mosquitoes out into the wild, and then they were like, well, these male mosquitoes are going to breed with the female mosquitoes that are infertile, and they won't have any babies, so eventually they'll just die off. But the big question of it was like, what's going to replace the mosquito? Because I guess evolution and stuff like that always has something that replaces something that's lost. So
Right.
what in the
Super
ecosystem?
mosquitoes.
Well, I was like, what if wasps started like sucking blood and stuff?
Or what if
Oh,
yeah, and it's like
hell
super
no.
or spiders started flying.
Stop.
Don't
Oh,
even
good Lord.
play about that,
no.
man.
No.
Dude, what
That'd be hell
about
on
no.
earth.
that shit?
No.
That,
No.
oh my god, can you
Mm-mm.
imagine a big ass like
No.
wolf spider or brown recluse or something that
Huh.
could fly?
I would
Oh,
never
well, the ones
leave
that
my
jump
house.
are already bad enough, man.
I
oh,
would never
goodness.
leave my house ever.
Well, that my top three would probably be mosquitoes, wasps, and ticks.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Yep. Goob, do you have a list?
Mosquitoes, cicadas, and dung beetles.
Yeah. Anything
Dung
that
beetles.
has the
They
word
serve a purpose.
dung,
They get rid of shit.
Yeah, but they're gross.
they are gross. And anything that has the word dung as part of its name, that's a little silly, you know? Like,
It rolls up poop.
yeah. That's
I
it.
mean, the name is what it is. I mean,
but it rolls up poop. That's not like a real purpose.
it gets rid of waste.
No, it
They're
just
like
rolls
the
up poop.
janitors of nature.
I think it just rolls up poop. I don't see them. I don't see the purpose.
I think they're kind of cool.
I mean, I watch documentaries and stuff, and they're on there, which is like kind of neat. But like I said, they just roll up poop, and I think it's gross.
Yep.
So, what was the other question that you had again?
So the other question that I wanted to ask was, if you could bring back one TV show that was canceled, which one would you bring back? And for me, oh my gosh. Okay. So I am really getting into Star Trek right now, like
Nerd.
all of it. And
Nerd.
I know, but I would love, and I mean love, the Star Trek, the original series. I would love for that to come back because yes, even though it was like super corny and like the props were obviously fake and stuff, like, it was still such a good show. Like, I don't know, like.
Nerd.
I know.
Super nerd. Because I try to watch that with you, and it's like. I mean,
It's like the ones who like Doctor Who.
she
I
likes
love
Doctor Who.
Of course she does. Of course she does. Chelsea likes it too.
I think I'm turning a little red right now. Am
See,
I?
I like good
Chelsea
shows.
got way into
Shut
Doctor
up.
Who.
Doctor
like-
Who is so good. Oh my gosh.
I watched it. I was like, "Ooh, this is actually pretty neat."
Yeah, Doctor Who's not that bad, man.
Well, I started from the very beginning, like back when it
Yeah,
was
I know
black
you
and
did.
white. Just saying. Just saying.
like Doctor Who episode 1.
Like the first one. Back in what, like 1950s or something? I don't know.
I think it's 1960s.
Sure, whatever. I
Whatever.
don't know.
Same time as Star Trek, I think.
Ish, yeah. Because I was trying to watch some of the Star Treks with her, and they were like, because like the big joke is like William Shatner's an overactor, and he was like,
There's something on the wing.
yeah,
There's something.
Well, it's like, dude, I just think he was ahead of his time, man. Like, because like he was acting, like at least he was trying really hard, but like the camera angles, the cameras, the effects that they had in the day, like weren't quite up to par.
So he had to overcompensate.
Well, he was like, I'm trying to make it look real.
Yeah.
But like everybody else is just like, I mean, we got to do what we have to work with.
They were just here.
But and one of the things that I also really like is, since everything is a little bit more like, I guess, poor quality, like obviously graphics and everything, they weren't as good as today's, obviously. But I just, even though overacting really irritates me, for some reason in Star Trek I love it, because it's like everyone is overacting, and it just, I don't know, there's just something about it. Like I don't know. I'm a nerd.
Super nerd.
I know, but you love me anyway.
I do.
Aw, shucks. Goop.
So you would bring back the original Star Trek.
Yes.
Okay.
Yup.
Andy?
Um,
I love Lucy. Ooh.
Firefly?
Oh.
Yeah.
What's that?
What? You.
Every time somebody says like, "Oh, I miss Firefly," I'll be like, "What's that?" And they always get offended.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh my
my buddy
gosh.
Rusty was like, I've never seen it. I was like, oh my God. I was like, so I screamed at Chelsea. I was like, Chelsea, Rusty's never seen Firefly. And she's like, well, he's fucking stupid.
You should have kicked him out right then and there.
That's really aggressive.
I was like, wow, okay. And I was like, so we got to watch Firefly.
Yes. Nathan Fillion is one of like the best actors that I've, like, he's just astounding. He's like the main character.
Yeah, I know.
Guy. Yeah.
He's hilarious.
He is
Plus, he's
absolutely
handsome as shit in that show.
Is. Oh
He's
my
got one hell of a chin.
gosh. And also, oh good grief.
There's some hot ass females in
Castle.
the show too.
Also, the show Castle that he's in. Oh my gosh, I can't get enough of Castle. Like anything with Nathan Fillion, he's just amazing.
He's pretty good.
He's amazing. Honestly.
High tide.
Stop it. Okay. Stop. Stop. This is not.
That's what we gotta say.
No.
Like, Carissa and I will analyze a male actor and what we think of him, which is pretty weird. And then at the end of the segment, you just go, high tide. So that we got a new segment now. It's just called High Tide.
Yeah.
And who's Pete Holmes is the one?
Yeah, we got to give credit to old P. Holmes.
Yeah, Pete.
I think he would allow us to use it. Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's a free plug.
What?
Oh, yeah. Shout out
it's
to
a free
Pete
plug.
Holmes.
Yeah.
Pete Holmes, the comedian. I love it.
Yep.
One of the best comedians alive.
Yeah.
Seriously, yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So you'd bring back Firefly, right, Becky?
Yeah, I think so.
Woo!
I don't know if I'd bring back any shows.
What?
Yeah.
Like there was nothing that you grew up watching.
I mean, if I had a choice, I'd probably like bring back. Well, no, because they're technically back. I was gonna say Top Gear, but they're back.
Yeah. Just
So-
the grand tour.
Yeah. I mean, I miss it being Top Gear because it was just like, I don't know. A lot of seasons is all like the same show. I don't know, but I mean, most of the shows that got canceled were terrible. Like nobody liked them. So
Well, I mean, The Munsters is another.
that only lasted like 3 seasons, didn't it?
Yeah, it lasted super short, and it like also like Star Trek, it just ended suddenly. Like, what?
I mean, I hope they bring back Daredevil.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
They better.
Netflix.
That's
But,
such a
yeah,
because
they canceled Daredevil. They canceled everything.
Yeah.
I think they canceled everything. The only thing they haven't canceled yet was Punisher. That's because they just dropped the season 2. But I don't think they're making a season 3. At least not on Netflix. That's the rumor.
Isn't Disney taking that over?
Yeah, Disney's launching their own streaming service. So they're going to be making probably all that stuff because, of course, Marvel is owned by Disney.
Well, I mean, okay, don't get me wrong. I love Disney. Like, Disney's my jam. That's, like, childhood, everything. That's everything to me. But to monopolize, that's just not right to me. That's not right.
It's like in Wreck-It Ralph when they had Disney was displayed on the internet and it was just like fucking chaos.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
like Star Wars flying around and Disney princesses running around and
Yep.
X-Men or, Spider-Man and the Avengers
and like Legos
flying
and
around
stuff,
and
I
shit.
think.
It's like, damn, they got everybody.
I
know, man. Well,
And they just got Fox too,
yeah,
didn't
I was
they?
just about to say they just bought 21st Century Fox. So basically everything that you watch on television is owned by Disney.
Good grief.
Damn near. It's getting crazy.
I know. It's nuts, man.
If
They
they can-
own
if they can-
everything.
I know, man, but if they can get a hold of Sony, they can remake all the Spider-Man that they want.
Well, they already made a deal
Well,
with
yeah,
Sony.
they already did that, but
it's
now
like-
that they got Fox, they can do a proper X-Men series.
Yeah, well, they could also like if basically I was just thinking if Sony was like, we're not going to give you the Spider-Man name right or whatever, Disney's just like, fine, I'll just buy your studio.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, that's basically what they did to Fox.
yeah.
So,
I think
they're
that's
gonna
just
rule the world.
retaliation. Disney was offering these people a bunch of money, but they were like, "No, this is our cash crop," and they were like, "Okay, well, we just want the name so we can make badass movies." No, and we're gonna go make our own movie. And Disney's like, "All right, have at it. We got Marvel Studios." And,
What you
and they're
got,
like,
bruh?
"Psych, we made a shitty movie," but Disney's like, "No, no, no, no. Now we own you." They're like, "I guess."
Yep. I mean,
So
like I said, Disney's on its way for world domination. Seriously.
I kind of don't mind because they make great fucking movies.
They do.
Well, they do, but I'm just worried about what they're going to do as far as like pricing for stuff.
Oh.
Because they're going to
Yeah.
be dropping the streaming service, and it's got a lot of like exclusive stuff, which is like the best of the best. So how much is it going to cost? Is it going to be like $30 a month? You know what I mean?
Oh gosh.
Oh, I hope not. Well, I mean, look at Netflix.
That's what I'm saying. Netflix is only $9.
But they just upped it to like 14 something.
Oh.
Mm.
I didn't know that. I know.
Yeah,
like,
you didn't see that?
No, well, I know before it was like originally like $5.99, and then it went to $7.99. I was like, all right, fair enough.
$6.99
when they dropped it with a streaming service.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
at first it was just DVDs.
Yeah,
And then the streaming
that
service
was $9.90. That was always $9.99 a month.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like $7.99 at one point.
Yeah, Netflix was like.
Well, no, because it was $7.99 because it was streaming only, or you could do $9.99, which was DVD and streaming.
I thought there was one that was just the DVD, but you did the streaming. You could do the streaming separately.
Yeah,
Right.
They had a package that was like $9.99. Irregardless.
Irregardless, I thought the DVD thing was more expensive. That's why I don't know.
Oh well, like I said, it doesn't matter. But they went up in price, and when I was looking at, because you know how they have YouTube and then YouTube Red or Premium or whatever they call it now?
Yeah.
Well, like that was $15 a month, just to not watch ads. But then Netflix is basically charging only like at the time $10 for unlimited streaming of everything. You're just like, dude, hell yeah, Netflix is a steal. So I mean, I'm okay with paying $15, but I'm just afraid of what they're going to keep doing. Are they going to keep raising prices?
I hope not.
You know they are
until it's going to be like 25. It's going to be like like cable companies where you're paying $100.
Well, cable
a
companies
month.
will probably be dead.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But they're going to integrate, and then Netflix is going to end up charging you $100 a month.
I think they're
which
getting
is
ready
essentially cable.
I think Spectrum's getting ready to drop some sort of streaming service too.
Everybody is.
To help with their cable
Apple just did.
number. Yeah.
Apple just dropped a streaming service called Apple TV Plus. They have not announced pricing either.
Of course not.
That's going to be scary.
Yeah.
That'll probably be $25. I can't see Netflix going that high because all they're trying to put out is their Netflix original stuff.
Yeah.
That they make. Their original product.
They get the most money off of it.
Yeah.
Because they probably don't have to pay royalties or something.
Yeah, exactly. The proprietary programs is what Netflix is trying to go to.
Yeah.
And, stuff like Amazon is getting pretty big too. Their streaming service is badass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Amazon Prime, they got a lot of big shows. I mean, they pay a lot of money to get it.
They have my favorite show of all time,
The Grand
Tour.
Mm-hmm. They have, what is it? What was that one with Jack Ryan, the Tom Clancy?
Yeah, that's on
show.
that's
Jack
on
Ryan.
Prime
Amazon
Video.
Prime. Yeah, we have a lot of good stuff, man.
Man in the High Castle.
I mean, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, Man in the High Castle.
Oh my goodness, this is freaking amazing.
Such a good show.
But Netflix originals, if they're as good as a lot of them that I've seen,
mm-hmm.
it'll be well worth it, because if they're just making a whole bunch of money by saving on and doing it in-house with their studios, dude.
Well, I mean, that's exactly what Apple did. All their stuff is going to be like in-house stuff, like Apple TV originals. That's
crazy, because eventually they may outdo the movies, like even the box office.
Well, yeah, they signed up Steven Spielberg and a bunch of other really big names, man.
Oh
it's
my
like,
gosh.
I know, it's insane.
It's supposed to be pretty good, but like I said, I was nervous because they didn't even say anything about pricing yet. And this is their new streaming service that they just dropped.
Oh, Apple did this with their streaming service?
Yeah.
Hiring Steven Spielberg?
Yeah, Apple just dropped, I think yesterday, just dropped a new video streaming service that they're going to be starting. It's not out yet, but it's coming, and it's called Apple TV Plus. It's going to be like in the TV app. They're going to have their own content and movies and shows and all like Apple original stuff. And like I said, they just didn't announce pricing, but they've signed a bunch of big names to like direct and produce and act in all these like crazy movies and shows for Apple's own version of Netflix.
They better get good. Apple's usually pretty good at taking somebody else's idea,
making it
else's idea, and making it really streamlined and really, really good.
Oh yeah, what they also announced yesterday is that they dropped the Apple credit card.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an Apple credit card. So basically, It's like, you know how you have Apple Pay?
Yeah.
Well, instead of having just Apple Pay on your phone, you can have a physical credit card, but you can only use it in places that accept Apple Pay.
Oh.
So it's like it's just a physical Apple Pay card, which is ridiculous. But
That is.
they're saying like they're changing it to where there's no number on the card, there's no name on the card, there's no expiration date, there's no CVV code, no nothing. It's just a card with your signature on it, and that's it. Yeah, no
Really?
nothing on it, because all your information of that card is going to be on your iPhone. So it gives like the merchant or whatever a new card number every time you scan it, so that way it's more secure and stuff. Like it gives you a one-time transaction code or whatever. So I would expect a lot of other banks to follow suit here pretty soon, but
I hope so.
I mean, I don't get the point in it as of yet. But I guess I get it. It's more secure and stuff, but once somebody signs up for that Apple Pay card and they start using it, it will be almost impossible to get out of Apple's ecosystem.
Oh, true.
You have all your money on it.
It's all said and done.
Well, they made it easy to where you can pay your bills with that Apple Pay card and stuff like that too. So it's like automatically you can set it up to where it comes out or reminds you or whatever. It's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
I mean, they make it seem so nice, but it's like all it is the Apple Pay card, like but physical. But isn't the iPhone an Apple Pay card that's physical? Especially if you can only use, because I'm under the impression, like I said, correct me if I'm wrong, but you can only use this card where Apple Pay is accepted.
I don't know. This is the first I'm hearing of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, I looked into it briefly, but that's what I was under the impression of, and I just thought that was ridiculous. I was like, why would somebody sign up for this card? And then I was like, oh, it's Apple. I forgot.
Everybody's already signing up for it.
Yeah, they dropped Apple News Plus, which I don't know if you remember, but a long time ago, Apple did the newsstand.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Well, like you could basically buy magazines on the like through iBooks or whatever.
Yeah, and it didn't
pan out
anything.
so well. So what they did was brought it back and called it Apple News Plus. But as a subscription service, instead of you buying each magazine on there by itself, you just pay $10 a month. You can read as much magazines as you want.
That's kind of neat.
I mean, it is kind of neat, but it's also a little ridiculous because couldn't you just scour the internet?
Yeah, basically, you could see all the new shit that you want from.
Yeah, you don't have to actually read
pretty
the
much
news.
anything.
You can actually just look at single articles that appeal to you through the regular Apple News app.
Yeah, man, that makes no sense.
Yeah,
but
it makes sense to some people that are paying for it, though.
I guess so.
$10 a month, and it's like, dude. I mean, Apple Music's $10 a month. Apple News Plus now is $10 a month. I'm sure Apple TV Plus is going to be at least $20 a month. So I mean, I
goodness gracious, I would love to see what percentage families put into streaming services, and
I just want to see subscriptions. Period.
Subscriptions, monthly subscriptions. See what they're fucking Butcher Box and I don't know, you name it.
To Razor, what is that? Razor Club, or whatever it is.
Oh, Dollar Shave Club.
Yeah, Dollar Shave Club.
Yep.
Which
I love.
They got all these reoccurring subscriptions. I bet you it's crazy.
Yeah.
I bet you it's upwards of $200.
Gotta be.
At least.
Because like I said, you can do a subscription for YouTube. You can also do YouTube TV. You can have a la carte like streaming services with your actual cable provider. Xbox Live is one.
Yeah.
All the new Apple stuff, of course, Netflix and Amazon and what is it, Hulu, HBO. You can do HBO Now. I mean, it's endless. Whatever you want, there's a subscription for it.
Well, and also like games and stuff on your phone as well.
Oh, that was another one that Apple dropped was streaming game service.
Huh.
How are they going to do that?
I'm not exactly sure. I didn't really read too far into it, but I just know it's called Apple Arcade. It's called, or it's going to be, I don't know if they've released pricing yet, but you can basically stream games to like your Apple TV, I think. You can play them on your Apple TV with like a controller and stuff, and then you can pick up right where you left off on the TV on your phone and your iPad and all that stuff.
I just want to be able to
Oh, so
play
they're probably
lots of
only
games
going to
on
be
my
able to play
phone.
like fucking app-like games.
Well, they're pushing it to where it's going to be, better. But I mean, that's what I thought.
You think it's going to compete with consoles and
No.
desktop
Well, I
computers?
say that now, but here 10 years from now, I'm like, oh, I can't believe I said no. You know, it's like everybody's playing it, but
Yeah, it's like
I
the
don't
new
see that
console
one.
game
I don't see that one
to
taking
compete with
off.
Xbox. You never know. It could be competing with the next gen consoles.
the big
because
selling
the
point-
PS5 I think is coming out.
Well,
I
yeah,
read
but
in
that's gonna
2020.
be the thing in forever. But
Yeah.
I mean, like the consoles. I mean, so.
But I'm saying is, what if Apple makes a console?
I mean, if
like
Apple
with
makes a console,
their arcade, and it replaces like an Xbox.
well, yeah, but Apple sandboxes their stuff to where it's like very proprietary.
Right.
So if Apple launches a console right now, that means developers would have to develop games for Xbox, PlayStation, and I mean sometimes Nintendo and Apple. Or would they work out a deal like where they'd be able to? Because the big thing with Apple Arcade, because I know Xbox already has the Game Pass to where you can sign up for subscription and play games like on demand or whatever. Well, I guess the selling point for Apple Arcade is that you can play them offline. Like they actually like the game downloads to whatever.
Right.
So I was like, well, yeah, but so does Xbox. Like you can download the game. I don't know.
No, I agree with you.
I think
it's weird.
Apple's like trying to get into places where they don't belong.
Yeah, it seems that way.
They're trying to get into every orifice.
Yeah, Sony and Microsoft is just going to come along and kick their asses out because they're
Mm-hmm.
worth a fuck for gaming anyway.
Yeah, I mean, well, the most popular games in the world are on iPhone, though. That's kind of cheating. Like, most popular games is like Angry Birds or whatever, or Candy Crush.
People aren't playing that shit to, play. They're just playing it to keep themselves occupied on a train ride.
Or at the DMV.
Yeah, because I don't play my. If I'm playing a game, it's going to be on the PlayStation.
Yeah, I mean, you want a controller, you want something physical.
Yeah, well, they have way better games too.
Yeah, better graphics. It's more immersive. I mean, that stuff. Yeah, you're just like. I mean, these are all remade games from like the 70s. Like Bejeweled. Yeah. How old is Bejeweled?
I don't know, but
because that's exactly
Candy
what
Crush
Bejeweled.
Is the same thing.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what Candy Crush is. Is just Bejeweled, just recovered or reskinned or whatever.
Yeah, and people are addicted. It probably makes billions of dollars.
Yeah, I mean,
if you Pokemon Go, you were talking about Pokemon Go,
$2.5 billion
of dollars.
But I was like actually looking at the statistics and stuff, or not statistics. I was looking at the actual games. Like if you swipe through the games on the App Store, like you can basically tie almost every one of those games to an early 70s, 80s, 90s game.
Yeah.
You can tie every one of them to it. Like it's all the same stuff.
Yep.
But on Xbox and PlayStation, it's like completely different. Like controls are different. I mean, it's a different atmosphere. I mean, yeah, you still have this general same thing. Like you have different categories of games, but it's better.
Well, I mean, that's what they do with like fashion also. It's like they just recycle popular items from like the 60s, like that'll be hot for a while, and then they'll move on to the 70s. They'll just like revamp everything. Then the 80s, like they just recycle everything. Like,
it's nostalgia.
Yeah. But it's like, oh, it's vintage, but it's also trendy. Like, oh my god, oh my gosh.
What are those called? Like, is it hip high?
Huh?
Like the belly button high pants or whatever.
Oh yeah, the high waist.
High waist.
High waist. Yeah, like the hipsters are wearing now. Like it's like super high waisted.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty hot, honestly.
Well, you have to have a very, very specific body type to pull that off.
You have to have a very specific butt.
Well, oh yeah.
Like it has to be square. No. But I think like it's the nostalgia thing, man. So it's the same thing with cars. They're doing the same thing. Like it's the same thing with these like Hollywood and stuff, remaking like Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers and stuff like that. But they're not as. I mean, Marvel has hit it out of the park. But come this next generation, they're not going to have a whole lot of nostalgia because like what is nostalgic for them? Because I can't think of
iPads.
anything. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the only thing I can think of that actually sticks.
They're
That
gonna
everybody
look back
loves.
at apps. That's what
Yeah.
they're gonna look like. Oh, you remember that app? And we're looking back. You remember Sonic in the
Yeah.
Genesis
Yeah, but like that
and
was cool.
Transformers,
Now you're like,
and
well,
Nerf guns.
Look back at the day, and it's like we had Angry Birds. It's like, oh my god.
Well, they still make Nerf guns. I think
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just an American thing, but I think every kid should have a couple Nerf guns and Nerf swords. You know, just to get that imagination flowing. And it's not the best imagination.
Yeah, I was about to say imagination of just shooting stuff and slicing people up.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, you could turn it into something healthy like exercise.
Yeah.
It's
Ish,
just
you
fun.
know, and exercise in an imagination. Like they're fighting bad guys.
That's what I'm saying. It's
They
just
don't-
fun.
They don't know that they're murdering people and cutting them. Just
I sit out
destroying
front
lives.
of grandmother's house and fight that maple tree that she had. I would fight
Yeah.
that tree like I was a Power Ranger for hours.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, fuck yeah! I'd beat the shit out of some grass, like, or a tree, like a little tree. Well, when I got older, I bought actual swords and shit, like a nerd,
Yeah, I know you did.
Loser.
and I would chop wood blocks and shit.
You're like, look
Go
how
fight 'em.
samurai I am.
I'm a samurai, and I'd chop the block and then like break the sword and shit.
Yeah,
Good job. Loser.
Yeah.
I remember that. You're the one who watches Star Trek.
Shut your mouth. Okay.
Nerd.
It's cool.
Well, yeah, man, those were good times. But you know, hopefully, I hope this next generation has something to be nostalgic about. To be honest.
Yeah.
I do too. I do too. I think you got a good point. It's weird for them. All right, so I was sitting down to lunch today, and one of these things just made me seethe with rage.
Okay.
And I was sitting there, and this woman, she walks in. She was a large, heavy-set woman, and she starts talking at the top of her lungs, just
Oh my
disruptive
gosh.
and loud and obnoxious. And she's sitting there ordering food, and she's screaming at the person making the food
Yeah.
like they're an idiot. And granted, it's a kid
Well, like she was being like mean, or was she just talking normally?
just being disruptive
Oh.
and also being very degrading. Because she was like, I'm OCD. I want my stuff made a certain way.
Oh.
And she's just
Oh my
talking at the
God.
top of her lungs. And then she calls her daughter, and there's, guess what? Talking on the speakerphone, so everybody could hear him screaming back and forth at each other.
Oh my
Of
God.
course.
And then she has the audacity to just say, tell this little girl, she's like, look, you got mayonnaise on your boob.
What?
I was like, what? I was standing up listening at this point, and she's like, you got mayonnaise on your shirt, on your boob right there. And the little girl's like, ma'am, I'm sorry. She's like, I'm OCD. I want my sandwich made a certain way. I'm not going to accept it. And she's just yelling at this girl. And she's like, ma'am, I'm trying. I don't understand. And one of the other people stepped in. One of the people that's been there a longer time, I guess, went in there and said, ma'am, I can help you. And she was just yelling, like talking as loud as she possibly could, like almost yelling. And she smiled and said, yes, ma'am, just did everything perfectly. I had to go up to him and tell him, like, you guys handled that tremendously, because I was starting to get pissed off at this woman after she left. And but the thing that cracked me up about the whole thing is she was like, I'm OCD. And she's coming in there and being disruptive. And she was fat, like grossly overweight.
Yeah.
And I was like, lady, you can't even fucking control how much food you put in your mouth. And you're talking about being OCD. You like shit a certain way. You just like food in your mouth.
Yeah.
No, you're not OCD. You're just giving an excuse to be an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate that. Why is it when people go on rants like that, when they start like just yelling at people and being disruptive, they always have an issue. Like they always have like a health problem, or they always have like I'm diabetic, or I just battled cancer, or I got AIDS, or whatever.
It's always something like that. Like, I'm
always is.
OCD, this, that, and the other. Or they're like making the people change their gloves 100 times, which I get. I would make somebody change their gloves too if they had shit all over it. Like, hey man, change your gloves or whatever.
Or if they wipe their nose.
Oh God.
Yeah, oh, geez, like
Yeah.
at South by Southwest.
Yes.
What?
I looked at her and I was like,
And he was getting a hot dog. He'll. What happened?
anyway, it was anyway, like those people like that say they're OCD and they are like, I'm a germaphobe, but you're like 100 pounds overweight.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
you need to be worried about things like diabetes, not germs.
No kidding.
That's what it cracks me up. I'm like,
High
oh
blood
my
pressure.
God. Oh, but the lady, going back to the gloves thing, we're at South by Southwest walking around, and I got hungry, and I wanted one of those gyros because gyros are delicious.
Yeah.
And the lady that was making it, started making it, and I noticed about halfway through, she takes and blows her nose and wipes it with her gloved hand into
Oh.
like a brown tissue, and I was like, I kind of looked at her as like, I hope you're gonna change your gloves. And she kind of was like, looked at me like, oh, she changed her gloves, thank God. But it was
Good.
probably the worst gyro I've ever had. It's just disgusting.
It was just like if Taco Bell were to make a gyro.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
It's just chopped up. But going back to my earlier thing, it just drives me insane when these people are like, I have OCD and this, that, and the other. No, you don't. You can't even control the volume of your voice.
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
OCD. You're just an asshole thinking that you have to have things a certain way because you're a picky asshole and you want to be able to complain to somebody to get free food.
Yeah, that's
Right.
all it is.
Mm-hmm.
People just want free food.
I've seen that shit so many times, and I'm like, dude, somebody would have to stab me in the leg to complain.
Wow.
And even then, I would be like, can you help me?
I guess.
But people like that are just the bane of my existence. I can't stand them.
Oh, I know. I don't think anybody can really, because and that's why they are the way they are, because nobody can stand them.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah,
not
but
even
just being so
that.
disruptive and shit like that.
But, I mean,
it's ridiculous.
Even just people
And
who
the other thing that made me just sad was she was screaming at her daughter on the phone. Like they were going back and forth. I was like, how disrespectful can you get? If you have a conversation, if you're ordering something, you need to have an idea of what you're getting.
Yeah.
Not scream into a speakerphone at somebody else. People like that are ridiculous.
Well, and people that just talk at like abnormally, like just high and loud rates, or like people who basically shout all the time. Piper, get down.
I can't stand it.
Like
I
they're
cannot stand
the
somebody
worst,
who
and
speaks
I have to tell
at such a high volume. You're like, Jesus, they're
Yeah.
disruptive.
Like, I tried to tell people if I ever talk with someone like that, I try to indicate, okay, hey, let's, maybe bring our voice down, because we don't need everyone within a mile radius to hear our conversation. And I'm not going to shout with you just so you can hear me. Like, I am going to talk at the correct rate or like level or whatever that's
Volume,
respectful to other people.
Yeah.
Because it's
crazy.
like they're just demanding attention. Like, hey, look at me. Especially
Yes.
people that are loud and interrupt.
And it's such a crazy amount of people who do that
It is.
I know,
from
it's pretty.
from all walks of life.
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
Oh my
Like you'll
gosh.
see the richest people in like the swankiest part of Austin, just hands on their hip, speaking on the phone, being loud and disruptive.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, and then they're like, can I speak with the manager?
Ugh.
When you're like, ma'am.
Dude, when I worked as a customer service manager for a high-end clothing company, that
Yeah.
was rough. Those were some of the most disrespectful, snobby, judgmental people I have ever seen in my life.
Well, and
Who are you working for? Where was this?
Neiman Marcus last call.
Oh,
I was the
That's
customer
right.
service manager, and we had policies in place, but I guess the actual store manager was just like, hey, I guess policies are meant to be broken. So he just like he bent over back, like he would just like a stiff breeze would knock him over, and he
just a spineless little bitch.
Yeah, I mean every time like because we had this huge sign that was in purple. It was out like right next to where the thing was, like outlining some of our policies, like no returns after X amount of days, whatever. And people would come in, 4 months past when the return date was, and they were just like, "Well, I only wore like people." And this was a common thing, and I swear this really happened. People would buy very expensive dresses, tuck the tag in, wear it for a night, come back the next day with glitter and perfume and shit all over it, and want to return it. It's like, dude, I mean, you wore this. And they're like, no, I didn't. It still got the tag on it. I was like,
you still wore it.
Yeah, there's glitter and shit all over it, and it smells like very strong perfume.
Yeah. Well, and when I worked at,
like, and there's semen on it.
Oh my god!
When I worked at the, I won't say the name of the company, but the customer service call center that I worked at, like, oh my gosh. Okay, I was there for 2 years, and just working at a call center, I believe that everyone needs to work in one because it will give you such, like, it just changes you. It makes you more humble. It gives you more respect for people who choose to make that kind of job their career. Like, it just changes everything. It changes how you interact with people, just everything. And
that's a fantastic point.
Yeah.
Either they should have to do that, or they should have to work in the food service industry for at least a year, just to see what kind of people go through.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And there was one, oh my gosh. Okay, so the customers that we had, like, this was at the very beginning of my time with this company, but the vast majority of our customer base was like retired ladies, just like retired old
people.
Ladies. Yeah. And we were selling at the time just jewelry, and it was a jewelry TV show, kind of like QVC or HSN or whatever, but just jewelry. And these people, like, oh my gosh, they were vicious. Like, they would call and complain about the quality of like a ring that they paid $9.99 for. And they're expecting like top notch, like $1,000 quality items. Like, no, you get what you paid for. I mean, yes, if you were to buy something in stainless steel, it would be a little bit hardier, or actually it would be much hardier than sterling silver. And yet these ladies, like, because sterling silver is a very malleable metal, but stainless steel don't go nowhere. Like, it doesn't move. Like, that's why I love stainless steel, because I'm rough with my jewelry. But these people, they were...
Well, they're like 140 years old.
Shut up. But, like, they demanded, like, the absolute best service, and they would lie and say, oh my gosh, I've spent thousands of dollars with your company, and you look at their account and they've spent like $239 with us, and I'm like,
kind of like 20 transactions.
Yeah, but they just everything had to be perfect. And
well, yeah, I mean, like I said, they're 140 years old, so in their day, $10 was a lot of money.
Oh my gosh. But some people, like, there was one lady specifically, she came up with this story. Like, there was a thing that we had on our website called Rising Auctions, kind of like bidding on eBay. So you would like just have to try to outbid people for items, and whoever puts the highest amount of money, like right before the timer ends.
So it's like that penny auction bidding, whatever thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. But whoever
it's
bids the
just an
highest.
auction.
Huh?
Right?
Huh?
It's just an auction?
Yeah, it's just an auction.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, so like whoever bids the most amount of money at like right before the timer expires gets that item.
Yes.
And there was one lady, she did this about 3 or 4 times. She would bid on like 50 items at once, and then she would call customer service and say, "Oh my gosh, my what did she say? My daughter just got into an accident. Like, she was just hit by a car. I need you to cancel everything in my rising auction item list. And then she would later call back and demand that we honored those prices, even like 3 or 4 days after
Just
those
playing the
auctions.
system.
Yeah, days after those items time things had expired. And
Wow.
so, like, she called with the exact same story multiple times. And at one point, like, I love, like, one of the supervisors, Carrie, she was another Dickie. She was, like, part of the Dickie chicks, because there were 3 of us. Stop. And Carrie ended up getting the phone call. And the lady was like, oh my gosh, my daughter was just in an accident. She was hit by a car. I need you to cancel all my rising auction items. And Carrie goes, oh, your daughter got hit again? And the lady panicked and just hung up the phone. Like, she did not call back.
Like, I don't want any part of this.
No.
Well, she was just trying to play the
shit.
system as she was playing a chess
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, she was just trying
little
to
shit.
get away with as
God.
much stuff as possible.
Crazy old
And
bird.
other people would call and say, oh my gosh, I really need these items. Like, I've spent all my social security check. Like, I have nothing left, but I really need to get my granddaughter this one little ring that I found on the rising auction.
But I can't afford my water bill.
Yeah, no, I can't afford to feed my cat. She's been starving for 6 days. So I really need
my
you to do
God.
me. Yeah, that was a legit customer
always-
service phone call that I got. It was
It's
ridiculous.
always a cat.
It is always a cat. Like, oh my God, these people.
I would have to be a callous asshole and be like, you know what? Really should have thought about that before you bought our jewelry. Love
Exactly.
you. Bye.
Yeah.
Or just hang up on them.
Yeah. Like,
Well, I think at some point you did that. You I want to say, like, there was some time you came home and you were like, I tried to hang up on them, and then they just kept calling back.
well, I mean, that happened a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
People would start cursing
God.
and stuff, and you're just like, all right, I don't need to take this click. And then they'd
Yeah.
keep calling back, get doing people.
Mm-hmm.
Psycho people. I mean, like I said, they're like 100-something years old. They're all retired, so they have nothing but time on their hands.
Yeah.
Just to make your world a living hell.
They're just like, I'm living through hell. None of my joints work.
I will
I
make
can't
you
pick up-
suffer just like I suffer.
Yeah, it's like I can't
So that-
pick up my cat anymore.
So, Carissa, this kind of is one of your ideas that you talked about earlier on in the week
Mm-hmm.
is the biggest pet peeves.
Yeah.
Mine would definitely be really boisterous people in a restaurant or anywhere public.
Yeah,
Yes.
any public place, somebody that's obnoxious and just trying to make a scene.
If they're obnoxious and speaking above normal conversation levels
Mm-hmm.
to be noted, that is probably my biggest pet peeve.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is insane.
Or like people, okay, also people who have quote unquote private conversations on speaker, people who smack their gum or their food or whatever. Like, I know that everyone hates that, but like,
Or popping the gum, like, whatever.
well, okay, that's not nearly as bad as hearing
Oh,
the
I hate it.
like, oh my gosh, I have called out so many people being like, do you not know how to like chew your gum with your mouth closed? Like, is that really a problem for you? Because I'm having a problem hearing this. So can you just like shut your mouth, please? Like, it's
Well, like another big pet peeve is like, I mean, like you were saying, Andy, like the speakerphone thing. If you're in public and you have speakerphone on,
yeah,
you're a psychopath.
you're an asshole.
Don't talk on speakerphone. You're in public.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
Hold
no
the thing
reason
up
to
to
be
your
on
fa-
speakerphone.
because people still
Unless
put
you're
it
in
up
your
to their
car.
face. Like they still put their phone like under their chin
yeah.
and talk on speakerphone. It's like, if you're gonna do that, just put it up to your ear and talk to that person by yourself.
Yeah, I don't understand why most people use, unless you're an elderly person, there's no,
Yeah.
or you're in a group of people that need to hear what you're about to say.
Or you're Kim Kardashian because the camera's got to pick it up.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
There's no reason for you to be on speakerphone.
No, there's really not. Like, oh my gosh.
It's that is probably the most ridiculous thing I've seen.
So if you don't if you don't enjoy the podcast, at least you can learn something. That if you talk on the phone and you're on speakerphone in public, you're a psychopath and you need to be imprisoned.
Oh my gosh.
For months.
Yeah.
For months at a time.
Yeah.
Possibly years or lifetimes. I don't know. Can you jail generations?
Depending on what
Jail
is
generation.
being conversed about.
Your children's
on
children
speaker.
will be in jail for your
Children's
indiscretions.
Children. Oh my gosh.
Your children's children. Don't talk on the phone and speakerphone. And don't text while driving.
Oh my god.
That's a big one.
That's a big one.
Ever since my accident, I have not touched my phone while I'm driving. I used to, but now I don't because everyone around me is on their phone, and I have to. My head is on a freaking swivel.
the guy that freaking hit you was on his phone, apparently.
Probably.
Shit.
Oh my
man.
gosh.
I know when we were in Austin driving around, it was an absolute nightmare. It's some of the worst driving
horrible.
I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I
absolutely.
live in a big city too, not nearly as big as Austin. But the drivers are so much crazier in Austin. Like
Yeah.
seeing them do insane shit.
Yeah.
And there's more accidents on those highway like Mopac and places like that than
Yeah.
anything else.
183, I-35, Mopac.
Mhm.
Those are all the worst. man.
29.
Yeah, 29, Loop 1, all that shit.
Yeah.
But it's because they just recently passed a law to where texting and driving is illegal here.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big fine too, but people are just like, I don't care. How are you going to prove it,
Yeah.
And so people will sit there and just drive and be texting and shit and be swerving all over the road, like almost random people, coming really close. But they think since it hasn't happened, I
That
can
is
still
not
do
going
it.
to. Yeah.
Yeah. They just feel invincible. They're just a bunch of little shitheads. And I wish it was legal to put guns on the side of vehicles.
Yeah.
So when you
Yeah.
see somebody swerving in front of you and you know they're texting because their face is lit up with that fucking glow, you can just start just laying into them.
Yeah. What
Yeah,
really
it's
pisses
pretty
me
sad.
off about that, though, is seeing like a parent with kids in the car.
Yeah.
That's what pisses me off the most. Like, not only do you have zero regard for your own safety and your own life, but clearly you think nothing about your children that are in the vehicle with you.
Yeah.
Like, you are endangering your entire freaking family by
Yeah.
sending a text to your girlfriend, Emily. Oh my God. Like, this is so great. Like,
Yeah.
put it down. Or, like, get one of the, what's the...
The Bluetooth things.
Well, Bluetooth, or even, like, the little mounted phone holders, like the magnetic phone holders or whatever.
Just get a Bluetooth.
Yeah.
Like, just don't touch your fucking phone while you're fucking driving.
You can get a little Bluetooth headset on Amazon for like $5 now.
Probably.
Yeah, like a cheap one, but irregardless.
Michael.
Thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. We will be back next week. Again, thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye, guys.
Have a good
Thank
one.
you.